Welcome to Ready to Mosh, a podcast all about rock, metal and alternative music. I'm Kev P.
And I'm Gem G. Each episode will bring you the latest news, talk about new releases, and review gigs and festivals that we've been to. There'll be a smattering of guest interviews and a lot of random chat.
As well as the podcast, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at Ready to Moshcast. Hello and welcome to Ready to Mosh.
Hello.
Hello. It's a Beercast.
It is, and it's episode number
59.
I don't know the bingo call for that.
White wine. How does that work? White
Why
wine,
not?
59, Beercast, kind of works.
And why is it a Beercast?
It's a Beercast because this is our 1 year anniversary episode.
Yeah, our birthday, if you will.
I'm really sorry. I was trying to quickly drink some vodka and orange and do it quietly, but that didn't work well.
Well, let's just put a caveat out there now. We're sorry for any slurps and burps.
Slurps and burps.
We've said that before at the start of a Beercast. Sorry if you hear any slurps and burps. It's a Beercast. If you don't like slurps and burps, because to be fair, I don't like listening to slurps and burps. So switch off now if you don't like slurps and burps. But we'll try not to slurp and burp too much.
Yeah. We'll try and get through it.
Yeah. So anyway, happy birthday to us.
Happy birthday to us, yeah. Shall we go on to the news?
We may as well, because it's an episode as usual.
Yeah, so it's going to be a normal episode. I would also like to say we were planning on getting some guests on for this episode, but we've had so many kind of people on recently that we've physically just not had the time to do it.
Yeah, because of Uprising, we just kind of focused on that, really.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, but hopefully we'll get the guests that we were hoping to have on sometime soon.
Sometime soon,
yeah. Also, just to say, the news might seem a little bit old when you listen to this because we're recording slightly earlier than we normally would in the week because of Uprising being...
Yeah, so is this about 10 days in advance?
Kinda, yeah. Normally we're only about 4 days in advance, but we've still got various bits of editing and stuff to do for the Uprising previews and interviews, which will have just happened last weekend. So anyway, yeah, just... It's still
aside.
News. Yeah, so we're going to talk about some potentially old news.
So all this comes with the caveat is probably old news to people, but
it's stuff that's happened.
As we speak now, it's actual current news.
Yeah, and who knows, future us may pop in with some extra news if anything exciting happens in the next week. Anyway, let's go on.
You go first.
So starting with some sad news, 2 festivals have been cancelled this week. Dominion Fest, which was due to take place 5th to the 7th of May in Durham, has been cancelled due to low ticket sales. The headliners for that, it was a 3-day one, were Blind Guardian, Orange Goblin and Skindred, and apparently they'd only sold 5% of their tickets.
That's insane. That is absolutely crazy, because Skindred will sell out any venue at the moment. They can pretty much play anywhere they want.
And quite a few of the people on the lineup, in addition to the headliners, were kind of UK exclusives or even European exclusives. So, yeah, it's really
It's strange.
Obviously quite close, because this is only about 2 weeks away now, it would have been. So quite close, and they've only sold that many tickets.
I don't get that. Orange Goblin as well, a huge.
Yeah.
Orange Goblin would still pull a really good crowd.
And then, just to add on to that then, Manifest also announced this week that they've cancelled. They were due to take place on the 26th to the 28th of May in Whittlebury Park. Bands there included My Dying Bride, Belphegor, so they got some big names going on as well.
They did have some big names.
I mean, one reason for that one, it was over the end of May bank holiday, and there's quite a lot of other things happening that weekend. So it's like Slam Dunk weekend.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other festivals I think I've seen.
Although it's not music related, the playoff finals are the same weekend, so you could have people with split loyalties that
potentially
they would want to go to music venues, but would also like to go to Wembley.
Yeah, it's last weekend of the Premier League.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going off that weekend, and we spoke about this before, and you raised a really good point. Is when you start looking at these places, is it the location is that what's stopping people?
It could be.
We didn't know really too much about either of these festivals.
No, I mean, we've kind of seen the lineups, but I mean, particularly like the Dominion one, it looked good. Obviously, we're always happy to go see Skindred, but Durham's quite a trek to go to.
It's a hell of a trek to go to for us,
So unless you're kind of up that way anyway, over that weekend, you think, 'cause these are bands that, I know some of them were UK exclusives, but a lot of them were also bands that you could see in other places.
Yeah.
So why you'd make the journey up there potentially. There's a lot of competition with smaller festivals now as well.
Yeah. And I don't know what the pricing structure was like either. So was the pricing structure kind of off compared to what you could get at other festivals?
Not that
That
sure.
maybe didn't have the same bands, but I think for any festival to cancel, it's really sad.
Yeah, definitely.
Because all I want is for any of these festivals just to do really well and kind of give competition to kind of like Download, Bloodstock, Reading, Leeds, all of the big ones. Just keep those guys on the toes because you could be the next one.
Yeah. And these festivals as well, for people who can't financially afford to go to bigger festivals, it does give them an opportunity to see some big bands on some small bands.
Some really good live music. Yeah.
So, if you were in the Northeast, for example, and you can't afford to go to Download or Bloodstock or do the travel or whatever, that would have been an option for you to go to.
Yeah.
So, it is very sad.
So on to some more upbeat news. Queens of the Stone Age are playing in Halifax on the 20th of June at the Peace Hall, the 22nd of June at Margate at Dreamland, and on the 23rd of June in Cardiff at Cardiff Castle. So those venues are really odd.
Yeah, I was going to say that, and also it's their first UK dates for quite a few years now, isn't it?
We saw them in 2016, so they must have toured since then.
Yeah, I think they have, but it's been a while. Obviously, it's been a while for some people to come over anyway, but and
it's probably been a good 6 years.
I've just twigged as well, that's when you're at Glastonbury.
For some of the days, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I could take this into Cardiff.
You could. But I think, I'm trying to think when Glastonbury is. I think, bearing in mind their schedule, so they play Roskilde, which is a festival we both want to go to, on the 28th. So there's a 5-day gap between Cardiff and Roskilde. And Queens of the Stone Age were on the original article in The Guardian that said they were basically playing the Glastonbury, but they never appeared on the poster. And then after the poster got released, the article suddenly got updated and they were no longer there. And nobody was actually quite sure what was happening with that. And there's still a strong rumour that they're going to play there, so I'm hoping to get to see them at Glastonbury this year. I
think there's a good chance because the 23rd, when they're at Cardiff, is a Friday, so there's a Saturday and Sunday available.
Exactly.
So
I imagine they'll do either the Saturday or the Sunday. Probably maybe the Sunday, so they've got a day off before Glastonbury. But yeah, you're more than welcome to go to Cardiff. I will be actually weirdly not that far from you.
Yeah, that is weird. I could even go to Margate.
You could do the trip to Margate.
Yeah.
I will say as well, the Peace Hall and Dreamland. I've never heard of these fucking venues.
Yeah, I've heard of the Peace Hall in Halifax. Quite a few bands have played there. Limp Bizkit have just announced a summer date there, one of their outdoor shows.
Is it really cheap there, or?
I don't know. I didn't realise they got an outdoor thing. I thought it was just an indoor venue. But looking at pictures, it almost looked like a courtyard thing kind of in the middle of it that they do outdoor summer things at. Could be one to investigate as a venue.
Yeah,
perhaps it's not that far, is it?
No,
really?
Halifax isn't too far from us. But Dreamland in Margate.
I've heard of that as well. Top of my head, I feel like Placebo have played there or are playing there. You know, when they come back over for Download. Yes. I'm not sure if it is. I might have just made this up, but I imagine it to be like a seaside kind of fun fair kind of place, but a derelict one. But derelict.
Like Skegness.
Yeah. That kind of Coney Island kind of thing. That's in my mind what it is. It's quite far for us to go and explore, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
A bit of Bloodstock news next. Unto Others have pulled out of Bloodstock, and all of their festival dates over the summer, the reason they've cited for this is that they're working on a new album.
It's a fucking new one, isn't it?
I mean,
we're working on a new album. We've not had long enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure bands have managed to combine the two things before, but anyway, they said they'll be back in 2024. So, yeah. But Bloodstock have already got a replacement in for them, and Embodiment will be taking their place.
Well, I hope Embodiment absolutely smash it.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things, although it's frustrating if you're a fan of a particular band to see a band drop out, I think it's also great as well as an opportunity for a band to move up and just, they've suddenly got a slot that they might not necessarily have got any other year or may even never get again.
Yeah.
But it just gives them a chance to showcase their skills, introduce people that maybe don't know them and get new fans.
Yeah. And Bloodstock are quite good at doing that. So they did it with someone that pulled out earlier.
Yeah,
didn't they? They kind of moved someone up and brought someone smaller in below. So it gives the one band chance to move up the bill and a new band to come in.
Yeah.
Lower down, but being at the festival.
I think that's a really good way to do it because it almost secures the festival for Bloodstock in the sense that their profit raises because they're bringing in smaller bands. But at the same time, they're bringing in smaller bands who might not have ever got that chance.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a given that you have to replace a kind of similar-sized band with a similar-sized band, is it?
No, unless it was kind of like your headliner that pulled out. Obviously, you've got to get a suitable replacement.
Obviously, but, if it's someone lower down the bill initially, it gives them other bands that opportunity to...
Yeah, just to jiggle things around, yeah. On to other news, which is Soundgarden are actually going to release some new music. Despite Chris Cornell obviously passing away quite a few years ago now. And these were recordings that were made kind of months before he died, but they never got to see the light of day. And it was a bit of a legal dispute between the band and Chris Cornell's widow, Vicky. But they've apparently come to some kind of mutual agreement about it. And we are going to get to hear some new Soundgarden which obviously, sadly, Chris is no longer able to play, but yeah, we will get to hear some new Soundgarden. I would love to hear some new Soundgarden. I'm a big Soundgarden fan, so... Yeah,
I'm looking forward to hearing it to see what it's like as well.
Yeah, and it's a strange one with Soundgarden because you're not a massive... Was it Soundgarden you weren't a big fan of?
I don't like Soundgarden, but I like Chris Cornell.
Yeah, it was just such a weird one.
I know, like Chris Cornell solo with Audio Slave, etc. Love him in that, but I don't know what it is about Soundgarden. I don't know what it is.
But most of Soundgarden were in Audio Slave.
I
that's what it blows my mind.
I know, it's my brain, it's how it works. But yeah, it'll be good to hear. I always think it's a shame as well when someone passes away, if they've got music left behind, that you don't get to hear it. It's a weird one because it's good to hear it, but then you know that you're never going to hear it live.
It's also one of those where I think, would it have sounded the same if it had got released while they were alive?
Yeah, because they would have been involved in the production,
in the editing, the production process, like you say, yeah.
So it's a weird one again, because what you hear might not be what they want you to hear.
Yeah. But the same thing happened with the... Do you remember, was it the Black Album that Nirvana did? Kind of like the best of it had, I think it was 1 or 2 tracks that were never released before.
Yeah.
Those tracks were fucking incredible. I really enjoyed those tracks as Nirvana tracks.
Yeah, and even the other week we had the Linkin Park unreleased Meteora session track, didn't we? Although Chester may have been involved in the production behind that, I'm not sure. But it was previously unreleased, yeah. Next thing I've got is just that Metallica made it to number 1 in the UK album charts with 72 Seasons.
Yeah.
It's
great that it's kind of put metal back in the forefront of people's minds again. But the album is not good.
No, I mean...
It's not a great album.
We did our review. You can listen to that a few episodes ago now. But yeah, I guess one of the reasons, obviously it's been anticipated for some time. Yeah. And all the different versions, I think there were vinyls, cassettes, etc. Your avid collector is going to buy all versions. So.
And the fan base that Metallica have got as well, not only historically, but kind of recently through...
Stranger Things. So it's
opened up a new fan base, which it was always going to hit number 1.
It's going to span 60 years of age range, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, not to take anything away from them.
I think it's a great achievement, but it's not a good album.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's not a bad album.
Yeah.
But it's not
Could have been
a great album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, well done to them.
Download news now. So Download have made another announcement.
Possibly the final announcement?
Oh, I don't think it is.
Don't you? It's only like 6.5 weeks as we speak, so by the time this goes out, it's going to be like 5 and a little bit weeks.
It is, but I'm sure the first announcement was 70 bands. This one was around 40?
The last one was about 40. This one was about 10.
Which still takes us up to about 120. There were 118 bands last year. So I feel like we're being screwed out of... They're saying it's an extra day of music, but we're not getting the same value.
Well, we need to sit down and count them to verify that point.
That's subject to verification.
But we could be getting less bands, but they're doing longer sets, so you get more quality over quantity, potentially.
Which is fine. I'm cool with that, if we are getting longer sets. But what I don't want is like huge gaps between bands where you can't watch a band in the Dogtooth, for instance, or the Avalanche, because you can't physically get anywhere near it.
Well, yeah.
And the same goes for the second stage, actually.
We'll have to work that little thing out.
Numerical quandary. Yeah.
I can see you calculating a spreadsheet. Anyway, some bands have been announced, and the stage splits that we've been waiting for so we can get a vague idea of the old Clash Finder situation.
One of the bands that it was leaked weeks and weeks and weeks ago, but one of the bands that have been announced on this announcement are Pucifer.
Yeah. Not surprised, but exciting.
No, yeah, I'm so excited. I'm buzzing for that. That is going to be amazing. Along with 100 Reasons, who I absolutely love, and I can't wait to watch again.
Yeah, that'll be good. Cherry Bombs, who I'm not familiar with, but sound quite fun to watch. I know they supported, I think, Corey Taylor previously.
Yes.
So, yeah, they look like they got put on a good show. Cancer Bats, who I can't remember last time I saw them. I know 2012 they were there, but they got delayed, didn't they? Then they came on with, was it Billy Talent they came on with?
Oh, was it Billy Talent or was it
I can't remember. No. Anyway.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to see the Cancer Bats as well.
And Static Dress, I've been wanting to see them for a while, so hopefully their timing will suit.
State champs have also been announced, along with Punk Rock Factory.
Yeah, they were at the Village last year.
Yeah, they were. And they actually put out quite a really cool teaser video for it.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, that was amazing. So if anybody's, although it's kind of old news, watch the teaser video. And like there was obviously they gave away a few clues in that they were definitely going to be there.
It was a bit like If You Know, You Know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was fun. They just do covers, don't they? Which I wouldn't go out of my way to watch, but if there's nothing else happening, I'll give them a watch.
Yeah. Casey are also going to be there.
Yeah, Reformed.
Yeah.
Reunited, whatever the word is.
Red Hook will be there too. And Rituals, who were the winners of the
Kerrang deal.
Of the Kerrang deal, yeah. So, and Rituals are kind of like, I'll probably go and watch those as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, and we've got the stage splits. We're not going to go into a lot of detail of what that looks like because we're going to have a couple of download preview episodes coming up in May. So we're going to be going through the kind of rough Clash Finder setup then, who we're looking forward to seeing, who we think might clash.
And see if we actually spend days together or not.
Well, yeah, always a question. One thing I will say on it is that Sunday is looking a little bit clashy out of all the days.
Of all the days, Sunday is an absolute nightmare.
It always seems to be the way as well on the Sunday. The last day when you've got the least energy, you end up running around like a blue-arsed fly.
Yeah.
For want of a
better expression.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday looks absolutely epic. And it's probably one of the days that I've seen over the last few years where I've gone, this is immense, but I don't know how I'm physically going to get from everywhere.
Yeah, well, we'll see when we get there, I guess. But we'll do a prediction for you in a few weeks. Final bit of news, I guess, then, is that the Foo Fighters have now announced a new album and a single which has been released already. We'll come back to that in a minute. The album is called But Here We Are, and that's going to be released on the 2nd of June, and I believe it has 10 tracks on it. And I still don't think that they've confirmed who's drumming on it.
No, I've not read anything about who the new drummer is.
No. I saw
Which we may know by the time you listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. So... But yeah, there's a single is out already, which is called Rescued. There's also a couple of new singles out as well this week from Sleep Token and Skindred, and we haven't listened to any of those 3 ones, so we're going to do a little bit of a live listen to the party.
Yeah.
So we'll be pausing, you'll get a bit of lift music, and then we'll report back. So we'll go for Foo Fighters first, because we just spoke to that. We just spoke about that.
Cue the music.
We've just listened to the Foo Fighters Rescued. What did you think?
It's interesting. There's a few things I've got going on there. So there's parts of it that sound very much like The Colour and the Shape. Parts of it that sound like One by One.
Yeah.
And it's a mix between the two. And the drums are actually quite interesting because there's a lot of emphasis on kind of like hi-hat stuff, which is not something the Foos have really done to that extent that you hear in this.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering whether Dave Grohl's going to drum.
I think that could have been him on the recording of that.
Yeah, I think on the recording it's got to be Dave Grohl.
Yeah. I really liked it. Like you, I thought it was very Colour of the Shapey, with hints of more
One by
recent
one. Yeah.
stuff. And some of the more recent stuff they've done I've not been as keen on, but I like that musically and lyrically as well. I thought that was interesting.
I think lyrically it's great, but musically it's not blown me away. I was wondering if they'd go completely off what they've done like recently, and go back to what they were doing before.
Yeah, because I think we'd heard rumours that they were going to be more colour and shapy on whatever they were recording. We heard that somewhere, didn't we? I'm sure we've mentioned it.
I don't know.
I thought we'd mentioned it on a previous episode. Maybe I dreamt it.
You may have done,
I had a dream.
Yes, Martin Luther King.
But yeah, like I said, compared to recent stuff, I like it a lot more. So I'm hoping it's given some insight into the new album and that carries on in the same way, but goes even more colour and shapy.
Colour and shapy.
Yeah, it's a technical description.
The Colour and the Shape is my favourite Foo Fighters album. They're probably the two best albums they've done for me.
Yeah.
So it's a good start, but I'm kind of, after the Metallica single, Lux Turner, and the other singles that they released after that, I thought Metallica were going to do
we did
a similar thing.
Yeah.
And the Metallica album for me just didn't do it. And I hope the Foo Fighters don't disappoint me in the same way that the Metallica album did.
Yeah, it's a weird one because part of me is glad that they've carried on and they're doing stuff, but part of me doesn't want it to be like a never-ending churning out saga. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll come back to that in June.
Okay, next single up is the new one from Sleep Token. So that was a new single from Sleep Token. Do you wish that you loved me?
I do wish that I loved them, but I just don't.
But I'm going to put my hands up. Sleep Token a hit and miss for me.
They're more miss than hit for me. That one, I went into it with expectations. Maybe this will be the one that I like. And it's sent me even further the other way, to be honest.
I totally get that. That is fucking dog shit.
I found the vocal really grating, I think, because it was so isolated.
Nothing happens.
I've said this before. I know he's obviously got a good voice, but it just really grates my brain.
It's got like the excessive auto-tune overlays on it.
Yeah, and it was very some kind of pop kind of, I don't know what the genre was, it was in the background.
Yeah, it's not what, if you want to play kind of like alternative music, then play alternative music.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to dabble in various genres.
Until they find something that sticks.
Yeah, I'm curious to see because that is about the 5th single they've released now.
Yeah.
The album's out next month, so be interested to see how all the different singles fit in together and maybe if there's any flow with them and the other tracks that are unreleased, or maybe they'll release them all before the album, I don't know. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how it flows, but I've not got high expectations of liking it, unfortunately.
No, that for me was fucking horseshit.
I'm trying to be polite about it.
I don't care. No, it was fucking horseshit. That is the worst thing I've heard in a long time. In fact, that is probably the worst thing I've heard since the Red Hot Chili Peppers album.
Wow.
It was terrible. And I don't get it. Like, the things they've released before, some of it has been great. Some of it has been okay. But that is dog shit.
Does it rank lower than Vilvelo's album?
Ooh.
That's the kind of...
Is that the benchmark?
That's the benchmark, yeah. For this year, at least.
It's around there. It's in the same spot, I think.
Okay. We'll leave that one there then, shall we? And move on to Skindred.
Yeah, fuck me. Let's get Skindred.
Yeah. Let's press that pause button and crack on with that. So we've just listened to Skindred's new single, If I Could, and that was different.
That's fucking catchy.
Yeah. When it first started, I was like, oh, different. And yeah, it was. It was almost at times verging on ballady, but then it kind of kicks in and it's got a catchy chorus and...
Felt very kind of like 90s sort of feel to it.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what it reminded me of? Their fellow countrymen, Those Damn Crows.
Yeah, actually it did. You know, you don't often hear Benji actually sing, do you? And
no, you don't hear his singing voice. You hear his
kind of reggae
rap voice.
Yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, he was really melodic in that, more so than I've really
Heard
ever
for a
noticed
long
before.
time,
Yeah, and it has got that kind of, you can hear the kind of Welsh lilt come through, and I really like that.
I feel like I shouldn't, but I really do.
Yeah, I was thinking you might not like this for some reason.
Yeah, there's parts about it I shouldn't like, but I think it's great. I think it's really cool.
It's just showing how Skindred, they've been around a long time, but they're still developing and growing and evolving and
they can do
showing their versatility.
Different,
yeah. And again, really looking forward to that, because that's about the third single now off their album.
Yeah, Set Phases was the last one.
And Give Me That Boom
Before
was the
that.
first one. Has there been another? I can't remember, but yeah, based on those three, definitely looking forward to the album in August.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And I think Baz from Massive Wagons, episode 50, if you're interested.
Yeah, go and give it a listen if you haven't done yet. If you haven't, why not?
I think he summed it up best that Benji is a musical whirlwind.
Yeah.
It's like you can just imagine Benji walking into a studio, blasting this shit out. And they're going, right, it's me done. Go now.
Yeah. Yeah. He knows what he can do. He does it well. He can just get on with it and crack stuff out like that. Along with the rest of the band, obviously.
I'm glad we saved this till last and not the fucking Sleep Token song.
Oh, jeez, yeah. I'd have been gone to sleep, I think, on protest. Right, I think that's it for singles. So coming up next, we're going to have a full review. Review time now, and we've got the new album from Enter Shikari, A Kiss for the Whole World. Their 7th album, 12 tracks, only 33 minutes. A little dinky one.
It is, but it felt longer.
You think?
Yeah.
I found the opposite. I thought I was kind of listening to it, and then it was like, oh, we're round to the start again, because I got it on loop.
Yeah, I should start doing that, because I finished the album and then went into As Everything Unfolds. I thought, this is not Enter Shikari, what's going on here?
Yeah, because it plays what it thinks.
It thinks I want to listen to, yeah.
Next. And actually, just to say, As Everything Unfolds, new album came out on the same day. Not had a chance to review that one yet, but I have listened to it and it is great too. So yeah, go give that a listen, but we're going into detail on Shikari for this episode.
Okay, so first track is the title track.
A Kiss for the Whole World X. Don't forget that little X on the
end. I didn't see the X on the end.
Yeah, on the single. And this is also a single that they have just released. I've not seen the video for it yet, but it is out there. I don't particularly like this track because I find it too trumpety, and trumpets give me the ick. I don't know if I
know exactly what you mean.
I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast before, but I have issues with trumpets. Very rarely, on occasion, I can tolerate a trumpet. For example, at the Download pilot, when Shikari came out to a trumpet fanfare then, that was acceptable. On very rare songs, a trumpet is acceptable, but in general, I don't do trumpets.
No.
So, yeah, I like kind of the underlying beats in it, and when it kicks in heavy, and the kind of sentiment of it, which is a theme through the album. But as a track, it's not my favourite.
No, it's a weird one, this. It's a very, very upbeat tempo. And it's not what I was expecting, actually.
Mm.
It's very different to what I thought the album would be. And there's lots of horrible bits with kids in it, which just, it makes me want to tear my eyes out. And yeah, I've actually wrote, the trumpets become irritating and don't add anything.
No, I mean, I know Shikari have done trumpety related stuff before, so it's nothing
but
new.
It's like overuse of it. It's unnecessary.
And I was thinking this, and then I saw a TikTok with Rao in it, kind of highlighting the trumpet bits and how it was all put together, and he was like really happy about it. And then I felt bad, but I can't pretend to like trumpets just for Rao.
No.
Sorry. I just ain't a trumpet person.
Okay. Track 2.
Please set me
on
fire.
Yep. Please set me on fire. We spoke about this before.
Yeah, we did a live listen initial reaction to it, didn't we? I think when it was released as a single.
Yeah. And it's kind of like an interesting use of, like, the vocals seem very stretched and extended through it.
Harmonied, I thought.
Yeah. And that's really interesting. And it's got a very catchy chorus. And I think this is going to be one that will be good live.
Yeah.
It's the kind of Shikari thing you'd want to see live.
Yeah, I expect it to be very bouncy. It reminds me of vibes from Spark era, that kind of
Yeah, and like the times we've seen them, it's like that's something you'd want to see live.
Yeah, which I think we said at the time when we did that initial review of it.
Yeah, so I've not wrote too much else about this just because we have spoke about it before.
Yeah. Track 3, It Hurts. This, I think, is my favourite track of the album.
Okay, interesting.
I just love everything about this one, like the lyrics, vocals on it, the synth beats. It's just really, really grown on me. Another one that I can see being good live.
So I've got mixed feelings about this. So I do really like it.
But
however, some of the vocals are very over-synthesized, which I don't like.
Okay.
And there are some awful fucking lyrics in this.
Really?
Yeah. But it is catchy, and it's clear why it's been a single.
Yeah.
I think of the songs that are on here, this is clearly why it is a single. It is one of my favourites, but there are things that I don't like about it as well.
Okay, there's nothing I don't like about this one.
Okay. And it feels very kind of 80s inspired in places as well, which I think is probably why you really like it, yeah.
Well, yeah, could be.
Track 4, Leap Into the Lightning. Not sure what this is supposed to be.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
This is a weird one for me. Because when I first listened to it yesterday, I was not sure. And I was listening today, and I was like, I really like this one. And this is another one that is a favourite, not my very favourite, but a favourite.
Okay. Again, I feel like it's lacking lyrically in this. And there's too much electro in it as well.
See, I really like that.
I'm not on board with what they've done with that.
I quite liked it. It's quite drum and bassy. You've got some good riffage going through, quite guitar-y at the forefront of it. Catchy chorus and hook, then some really deep beats, and it reminds you a little bit of Anaesthetist, that kind of really deep bass going through. Yeah, the more I've listened to this one, it's really grown on me.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was really skippable.
Maybe you need to give it some more listens.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Next up, number 5, Feed Your Soul, is the first of 3 kind of instrumental interlude tracks. Not really wrote much about this other than it's a kind of synth beat interlude. Yeah,
pointless. That's my one-word summarisation of this song, pointless.
It is a bit weird that it's only 12 tracks and 3 of them are these little instrumental interludes, which I know is nothing new to Shikari.
Offers nothing of interest. It's probably going to be used as a bit of a breather at live shows.
Possibly, maybe even an intro.
Or as an intro, but just
or an outro.
To me, just pointless. No need to even include it as a track, just drop it on the end of something.
Yeah. I kind of get why they do that, because it's kind of a done thing, but at the same time, yeah.
Yeah. Track 6, Deadwood. This is an unusual change of tempo and style.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else that's been thrown at us so far.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to make of this one to start with.
It doesn't fit, but it's actually my favourite track on the album.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I fucking love this. Yeah. This is a great Shikari song.
I like it, yeah. It's not up as a favourite, but it is different and slower, and
I think it just offers more than the others have done.
Yeah, it's definitely got more to it. A lot of the other ones are just like banging bops going through, where this has got almost isolated vocals and strings behind them, and kind of builds this crescendo, but then with a repetitive chant.
Yeah, and I think it's lyrically stronger. I think it's musically stronger. And there's no emphasis, like you've said, there's no emphasis on kind of like almost like the drum and bass aspect behind it. And it just feels real. It doesn't, everything else just kind of feels very unnatural. Did more of an organic kind of sound that I want to hear. And
this is one that I can imagine mid-set Rao doing solo acoustically.
Yeah.
As he tends to do.
So for me, this is kind of like the highlight of the album. This is perfect.
Okay. Next up, we've got number 7, Jailbreak.
Mm-hmm.
This one for me, it reminds me of some kind of old Shikari again, harking back, pre-Spark, that kind of mid-range era that they kind of turned to. You've got some kind of the spoken mid-section, and it kind of kicks in and kind of just bangs, and it's like preachy Rao going through it. I think this would be a good one live.
Yeah, I've got Would Go Down Well Live.
Yeah, there were sections where I could just imagine the confetti cannons going off.
Yeah. This for me is another strong track. The chorus is great. I'm not struck on the synth bit in the chorus. I feel like that detracts a little.
Yeah.
But it's minimal, so it works better.
Yeah.
It's not as heavy as the other 3 or 4 before, the only 3 or 4 tracks. And like you've said, I've actually got Would Go Down Well Live. This is my second favourite track on the album.
Yeah, it's another one that's grown on me. I've not marked it as a favourite, but listening to it again today, it's definitely gone up the rankings. And one thing I noticed in this, and a few other tracks actually, going on to lyrics, like this one, it says, I wish I was back at the Dreamers Hotel. And this kind of hark backs to previous albums. And I think with Deadwood, there was one, Nothing Is True, harking back to the last album again.
So there's all kind of little
I like those kind of like
callbacks.
In references.
Callbacks,
Is that
that's the term, it's a callback.
Yeah, I do like that kind of smattered through the album.
Yeah. Track 8 is Bloodshot. And this was another single. And we've discussed this one before, I think. And it sounds so much like the Prodigy at the opening.
Yeah, I've got Prodigy-esque opener.
Yeah. And I'm not really a fan of the electro kind of emphasis on this one.
I'm not either. And one thing I really don't like about this one is like the Bloodshot, the repeat in the chorus and how it echoes throughout. It just kind of starts grating after a bit.
Oh.
I didn't like that.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean, though. It's unusual for me to hear you say something about a Shikari song like that, though.
Yeah, no, I just didn't like that. That was almost detracting away from the music, because all I could pick up in my ears was that, and I was like, just a bit. And then that goes into another instrumental outro, Bloodshot brackets coda, flows straight in from the previous, but then it's more lighter with some added strings in the background, like it's just the last track fading away, but it's a separate track. And I don't quite know why they didn't just tag it on as just fading into that.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said before, it's like, why? Like, I've got no real opinion on this. It's just an ending with trumpet overlays.
Yeah.
What's the point? There's no need for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't deserve a separate track. Just add it on.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is Goldfish. Again, what's interesting about this is that we went through a series of tracks that I really hated. Well, not really hated, but wasn't a fan of.
Yes.
They went through some that I thought were amazing. And I feel like we're back to more kind of like opinionless thoughts again about this. It's not terrible, and it's got moments, but there's nothing one iota scary or ominous about being a fucking goldfish bowl. It's like, I'm sorry, this is so lyrically weak.
I like it. I love the metaphor of you are the goldfish, I am the bowl. I get it. You obviously don't.
You might as well say, I am the fucking apple, you are the apple tree, for all it matters.
No,
it's irrelevant.
No.
Pointless drivel. Yes.
No. And very catchy, as you will attest to, because I was wandering around the house singing, I am the goldfish, you are the bowl.
Like I said, it's not terrible, and it's got moments, but it's not great.
No, I know what you mean. There are bits in this I really like. Obviously, I like the sentiment of it and the goldfish analogy. I like the fact it's quite bass heavy, because I do like that in a song. I like the kind of the spokeny bit throughout it. But then the chorus is quite clunky and robotic, and I don't really like it musically.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a mixed
there are
one.
There are high points in it, and there are some, but like when it gets to the bad points, you're kind of like, well, I don't know why that was necessary.
Okay. Moving on then to the longest title of the album, Giant Pacific Octopus, brackets, I Don't Know You Anymore, close brackets. I thought this had a really great intro, but then it just kind of was okay.
Okay. Well, I thought this was a much stronger track than the last few have been. And it ends on a better note than it started.
Yeah.
And it's a track that's not horrific, and it's not a track that blows my mind.
Yeah.
But it is better than like the last 3 or 4 tracks. So it kind of ends on a positive note for me, as opposed to how it started.
I get that. Yeah, there was nothing really of note within it. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't a favourite, and kind of started great and then just kind of almost kind of dwindled just down to an okay song for me.
Feels like it could like be an interchangeable sort of track on a tour. They could just drop in, and you get tracks that will switch between venues and tours, and I feel like it's that kind of track.
Yeah, and for me, with all the other previous ones, when I was listening to it, something stood out in all of them, whether it was just a lyric or a melody or the intro or something. But on this one, it would kind of switch on to this one, and the next thing I knew, it had come round back to the start again.
Yeah.
And I'd not really noted anything. It's like, oh, that's been and gone, and nothing really leapt at me.
It's the Aston Villa of songs.
Yeah.
For you.
No offence to Aston Villa, but they're just a mid-table, just their team.
They're mid-table, and they're no offence to you, are they?
No, I don't dislike them, but I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Giant Pacific Octopus swirling off into infinity, which is a little ditty just to end the album at track 12.
Which again is a little bit pointless. Just drop it on the end.
So, summary.
Okay. Do you want mine, or do you want to go first?
I don't mind.
You go.
Okay. For me, it was okay. It didn't live up to some of the expectations I'd hoped for it, but I don't dislike it. It's not my favourite Shikari album. I thought there was lots of high points, lots of intricate layers in the music. I love the flashbacks in the lyrics, like I've said before. I think there were lots of classic Rao lyrics, and I think he is an awesome lyricist. A bit quirky at times, has some weird metaphors, which you kind of need to get on board with.
Which I definitely am not on board with.
And I think the highs were really great and the lows were mediocre, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's nothing I disliked, and the ones I really like.
Okay. So for me, it's not a classic Shikari album, straight off the bat. Like, my notes are very similar to yours. So I think it's got some real high points in it, but unfortunately, they're kind of few and far between. They're not constant, which I've had with other Shikari albums. And it seems like they've taken a bit of a different direction, which I know they're not afraid of doing, because they've done that quite recently. They moved from one area to a different area, and it feels like they've moved again. And the only issue I've got is that some of the things they do with like the synths and the electro stuff, sometimes it's a bit overkill. Don't think it's that necessary.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. It almost drowns out the actual musicianship of the rest of the band.
Yeah, it's like the craftsmanship of everybody that's playing guitar, that's playing drum,
gets a bit
lost.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the big issue with it for me.
I think it's something that will come across better live though, because you do get the full band experience live, and it's obviously how it's
and the synths and the electros as well are turned down for live shows. So it's more about the band and not about the electro stuff that they've been doing. So I think it's probably, as a live album, it would be better. But as a album, it just doesn't do it for me. So scores out of 10?
7.5.
Okay. I'm going to score this 7, like the Metallica album. Because it was much anticipated, but just didn't deliver what I thought or wanted it could be.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to give it an 8, but it definitely lost points for those trumpets.
Yeah. You fucking hate a trumpet.
And I couldn't give it beyond an 8 because there are bits that I'm not as keen on, even though I love the bits that I do love.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There we go.
Okay, we're on to the main section now, and it's not really kind of like a main section that we'd normally do that would feature a guest that we'd maybe have on, or
a specific
topic that we talk about. It's basically we're just going to kind of have a quick chat about the last year, because it's been a whole year.
Or it will have been.
Or it will be by the time you've heard this.
Yeah. So
it's not a year to us yet. But...
Not quite, but... Well, it probably has recording-wise, because we would have recorded the week before, so I guess it's almost a full year since we first sat down in front of the microphone.
Yeah, scary.
Or behind the microphone. Wherever
in front of?
In front of. Whole year and don't even know where I'm sat.
No, well, we've changed rooms.
We have. We've gone up in we've even got our own podcast desk now.
Yep, we've got our own podcast desk, and in almost a semi-dedicated room, I think.
Yeah, kind of.
And one thing I would actually like to say is to, obviously, we can see kind of like how many people listen to us each week. And we would love to say a big thank you to everybody that absolutely just listens, enjoys, maybe, I don't know, maybe gets involved on social media with us.
Yeah, we get the odd comments and we do very much appreciate them.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And
so, yeah, thank you, everybody who's listened, whether it's been one episode or all 58 prior to this 59th one, and you're now listening to the 59th one because you're
nearly
dedicated.
fucked up.
I didn't. Very much what I was saying.
I thought you were definitely going to... You went 50?
I'm looking at the calendar. Yeah. Right, I want to just pop in a little bit of old school Ready to Mosh.
Go on then.
Do it very, very mini, because I couldn't really find much exciting that happened. Rock the Week. So anyone who listened to us from the beginning will know that we used to do Rock the Week, where we look back on this week in rock and metal history.
Season 1.
So on this day in rock and metal history, which is the 2nd of May. So this goes out on the 1st of May because, you know, the days move along in the week as time goes on. So I just had a quick look at what happened on the 2nd of May in rock and metal history, particularly, and turns out not a lot.
Not a lot of podcasts started.
Yeah, our podcast started. There are a few rock birthdays to mention, which include Jeff Gutt of Stone Temple Pilots, Lou Gramm of Foreigner, and Goldie McJohn, what an awesome name, of Steppenwolf. So happy birthday to them on the 2nd of May. It's also David Beckham's birthday on the 2nd of May, but he's neither rock nor metal.
No. Obviously, you've only mentioned that as a Manchester United fan.
And I did actually meet David Beckham on his actual birthday once upon a time.
But that was a pleasure for him, wasn't it?
I'm sure it was. 14-year-old me. Yeah. Also on this day, the 2nd of May, Tool release Lateralis. Lateralis, sorry, Tool fan. I know you're all very particular.
It's fucking Lateralis.
Yeah, they released that in 2006 anyway, and sold 500,000 copies in the first week.
Yeah, because it's fucking epic.
And also because it has a very quirky cover.
It's fucking epic.
And that's about all I could find that happened on this date. There was obviously things happened, but nothing.
Things happened.
Nothing really worth.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to look back, and there's going to be like there would have been elections. There would have been
probably was
a war
start of May,
somewhere.
but you know, in rock and metal history, not a lot else.
As far as we care in the rock and metal community, that is what happened.
Yeah, little random bits and bobs, and we could have even mentioned it on the first episode because that would have covered this week. So I just literally focused on the one day. Motion detected at the door.
Oh, that was Alexa, by the way, telling us that somebody's turned up at the front door, and it happens every fucking time. So we started unplugging it, but we've forgotten today.
And it is probably a takeaway for our neighbours.
Because it always fucking is.
Because it is actually 20 to 10. This is very late for us to be up.
Yeah.
On a Saturday.
Unless we're at a gig.
Well, yeah.
But we're rock and roll, so.
We'll look back and see who that was on the camera in a bit. Moving on then, so.
Fuck it, I'm going to look back now. We'll do this live. We're going to do a live look back on the ring.
Door? It's either somebody with a takeaway for next door or it's a van. Because I don't think it's a dog at this time of night. It
was a van going up the street.
Okay. I bet you're all intrigued to have that mystery solved. So, looking back then on the history of the last year of the podcast, what can we say?
What's been your favourite moment?
My favourite moment? I can't pick one. You know, I can't ever pick one.
What have been your favourite moments?
My favourite moments? I think all of the interviews we've done have all been very special in their own way. And by that, I mean, because they've all been quite different, I guess, to a point.
Yeah, I get that.
We've had a range of guests.
I think we've been very, and I have said this to like the guests off the pod as well. So I think we've been very lucky that everybody we've spoken to and interviewed who have taken their time out to come on the podcast have been absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anybody that I've really thought, oh, you're a complete dick. But, you know, everybody's taken the time out. And some people haven't even had things to promote.
No.
Which is kind of blows my mind that it's like we've got nothing to promote, but we will happily talk to you.
I think just the fact we've even had guests.
Well,
actually,
that's
been a thing.
I mean, I think for me, one of my biggest highlights was speaking to Baz.
I was just going to say, I still can't believe.
I still can't believe we spoke to Baz.
He was actually on our laptop screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've already
trying to deal with technology.
Yeah, bless.
That will definitely be a takeaway.
That's probably the van going back down the street.
Yeah, it will be. Shall I unplug this?
Probably, yeah. We do live on a cul-de-sac, which may sound a little bit posh, but it ain't.
It's not, no.
But the van's probably turned at the top and gone round after dropping a takeaway off somewhere else, I would suspect.
Yeah.
At this time.
But we won't have any more interruptions because I fucking unplugged it. So.
Anyway, yeah, Baz was great.
Yeah, I think Baz was absolutely lovely. And I kind of hoped he would be nice, but he was so much nicer than he was.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just gives you a nice warm feeling that people that are in like bands that have done so well over the last, few years are happy to spend time to talk out to a podcast and just say, oh yeah, I'm happy to chat with you guys. And
I think the thing with Baz as well was like everyone who we've had on has been great and we've been really appreciative that they've come on. But most of the other bands that we've had on have been relatively new to us, whereas we were Massive Wagons fans.
Yeah.
Massive Wagons fans.
Massive Wagons fans.
Before we'd even started the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we'd see Massive Wagons countless times.
Yeah.
And then to actually have Baz on was just kind of like such a big deal for us.
It was. And still very surreal.
Yeah, it is very surreal. So, but you're you.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
that was definitely a highlight.
I think other things that have been a highlight for me, not necessarily for the podcast, but for what's happened outside of the podcast. So we've had our first interview was with Sinkalima.
Mm-hmm, it was.
Who are absolutely fantastic guys. And if you've not listened to any of their music, go check it out now because it is great. Yeah. Real stoner rock.
We've got an episode dedicated to their most recent release a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wavelength. So check that out and their previous album because they're awesome.
They are awesome. And since we spoke to them, they kind of they played at the Jaeger stage at Bloodstock?
They did, yeah.
And the crowd was absolutely heaving for that.
Mm.
So it's like they drew a really good crowd. People were really into it. So it was great to see that, kind of somebody local and that we'd spoken to, just see them doing that. We then spoke to Lake Malice, who have gone on to, I don't know, God.
They've exploded.
It's like they own the world at the moment.
Touring Europe with Bloodywood. They're doing dates with Vukovi later in May.
Yeah.
Obviously on the Dogtooth at Download.
Yeah, I'm down the front for that.
Yeah. So, it's just so amazing to see them get bigger and bigger.
Just explode like they have, yeah. And then the most recent interviews, we were talking to Lowen, we've been talking to Internal Conflict, we've been talking to Damim, and everybody that we've interviewed has just been so cool.
Yeah.
And, we appreciate that they have their things to do. They're in a band. A lot of these people have full-time jobs as well, like we do.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to chat, and they've taken the time out, and obviously the things you don't hear on the pod after, we get to just have a nice little chat with actually the band.
Yeah.
On a personal level instead of a interview thing, and it's been absolutely great.
Yeah, and also we had Katie on from Metal for Good back in September, and they have now got their charitable status. They're doing great things. They've got auctions going off, so I think they're still live at the moment. You can go and bid on some awesome prizes. They've got their eBay shop where you can go and obviously bid on various bits of memorabilia to help them raise money to do all the great things they're doing. They've got affiliation with various festivals now. So they've grown so much as well.
Yeah, I got an email from Katie the other day.
We're on the mailing list, aren't we? Yeah,
because we're on the mailing list, and it's like they're doing so much good work for kind of like the metal community. So if you can spare some money to donate to that, do that as well, because that is amazing.
Yeah. Moving on then. So Kev has now got a hiccup. So
yes, I have. So I apologise. Oh, fuck. I apologise if any of these make it in, but yes, I do have the hiccups.
I will try my best to edit the hiccups out, but I'm sure some will sneak it. You never know, we might forget about them. Obviously not. Yeah, so I think just moving on a little bit to social media and just say a big thank you to everyone who has followed us on every platform. We started out on Instagram and Twitter at Ready to Moshcast. Twitter, not going to lie, has kind of died a death a bit because it has in the world in general, I feel.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
But Instagram, there's over 555 of you following us. 555. We're aiming for 666. So thank you to all of you following us on there. Didn't expect to get that many so soon. Really.
No, you kind of set some personal targets.
Yeah, but I think at the start of the year, as in from like end of December, I think, if we get to 250 for download, we've sailed past that one.
Yeah.
So thank y'all. We've expanded into the world of TikTok. That's a very slow burn. Not much goes on in there. We've not got many followers. So if you want to give us a follow on there, but you know, we tend to just do like almost a mini vlog on there of any gigs that we go to and a couple of other random bits.
Well, you say we do. It's like
I do.
You are our social media Oh, Jesus Christ. You are our social media representative.
Yes. We're on Facebook now, which we won't start with, but we've seen an advantage of going on there. Again, it's a small community on there, but do go give us a follow on there as well. We're kind of active on there, but things linking from Instagram on there now, so we have a presence, as they say.
Yes. we have a presence, and we have my hiccups over the top.
Indeed. And YouTube, we've kind of always had a YouTube channel. You've kind of always had hiccups.
Oh, Jesus, it's got worse.
Worse. Oh, no. This could be our longest ever episode purely because of your hiccups. Anyway, yeah, so YouTube, we've kind of always been there. The podcast has always linked in and launched an episode on there. But recently we have started doing gig vlogs from the start of this year. We've kind of vlogged every gig that we've been to in either one or whatever episode. So, for fuck's sake. And sorry, we just had to pause for an epic hiccup episode. So I've kind of lost my train of thought, but I think I was talking about YouTube. So we've gone on to doing some gig vlogs from the start of this year. So go give us a follow on or a subscribe on YouTube. Go and watch our gig vlogs. There'll be more coming up in the form of festival vlogs. They're a bit sporadic because we literally only do the vlogs and the YouTube proper stuff when there's something to show, as and when we're going somewhere, I guess. So if you want to go and put a face to the voice, go and have a look on there. That would be cool.
I think they might have gone.
So yeah, I guess that's a bit about the past. I mean, we're not going to obviously go through every album we've reviewed, every gig we've reviewed, every band we've recommended, although we do recommend that you go and look back on the recommendations in particular.
And listen to the Spotify recommendations, because they're all on there.
They're all on the playlists, yeah. So do that. We'll link them at some point, but you can get them through the link in our bio on our link tree. So yeah, always say go on there if you want to find some new bands to listen to, because new bands are awesome. Yeah.
So then things we've got coming up that we definitely know about in the future. So although this is before Uprising, we are going to do Uprising, so you'll get to hear about that soon.
And that's exciting because that's our first venture as press.
Yes, well, thank you very much to DC Sound Attack for giving us press for that.
Yeah.
And we're really excited about doing that, and that's kind of like part of the reason that we've done so many interviews with the bands that are there.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of promo to some of the bands and obviously
kind
the
of
festival
get some
itself.
build-up and crowds for those people.
So the review will be coming up next week for that, because that will have happened, although it's in the future now. It'll be in the past when this goes out. So that's exciting. Obviously, there's download to look forward to, because there's always download to look forward to.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, there should be previews, reviews, our predictions for next year, and hopefully a vlog to go alongside that.
Yeah. Do you know what? One of the things I'm really excited about doing is the anticipation of who's going to play next year.
Yeah, I've already got some notes noted down.
Yeah, I've got the same. I've got a few bands in mind.
Mm-hmm.
That I think we'll definitely be playing.
And then after that, we've got Mangata in Nottingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to do a bit of a preview about Mangata and who the bands that we really want to see there. Actually, I think we'll cover all the bands, actually, won't we?
Probably will. It's a one-day one this year, and then an after-party as well, so there's plenty of bands to go out. So we'll kind of do a whiz-through of everyone and who we're looking forward to seeing, which will probably be everyone.
Yeah, it might probably will.
Yeah.
And they changed the location for Mangata as well.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this before, but yeah, it's now at the Rescue Rooms rather than at the brewery. That's fine.
Yeah, that's totally cool.
It's just one of those things.
We're more than happy in the Rescue Rooms. We've been there many times.
Exactly. As long as there's a stage with bands on, we're happy.
After Rescue Rooms... Oh, actually, we're missing a big one, aren't we? So there is potentially going to be a mini episode in between Download and Mangata, because I'm at Glastonbury.
Oh, you are? Keep forgetting you're going off for a week.
Yes, but it's not a week, it's 5 days.
Well, it's the best part of a week. You're going on Tuesday and you're coming back on Monday, so...
Yeah, so I'm going to be at Glastonbury, and there are going to be, hopefully, depending on what kind of state I get into, there are going to be some vlogs that I send back, and hopefully we can kind of piece together something for that.
Hopefully. I mean, I'll probably be watching some of it on telly, sporadically. I'm only going to be watching people I want to watch, and from my previous experience, it's a bit difficult to watch because they always show stuff I don't want to watch and they never show the stuff I do want to watch. But
well, I will be on the stuff that you do want to watch.
That is true. And yeah, good luck with the flags on that one.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on the flags. But yeah, so there's going to be the Glastonbury thing that we'll hopefully get a mini episode out for.
I think it'll be a full episode.
Oh,
actually.
Okay.
That's what I've penciled in for you.
Okay.
So
oh, wow. Okay.
Make sure you've got your notebook with you. So then we're into August, so that's Stone Dead.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to going back to Stone Dead this year.
That was awesome last year. I can't wait again this year for that one.
Yeah, well, we both said that was our favourite festival of the year.
Yeah, we did 4 last year, and that was number 1 for various reasons. Facilities, bands, food,
friendliness. Everything just kind of combined. That was the ultimate festival.
It was. Obviously, prior to that, earlier in August, there is Bloodstock, which was still a bit in and ahhing of.
Depends.
Depends.
We might still be able to squeeze Bloodstock in.
Or maybe just a day. I don't know. But again, it's so hard to pick a day for a festival, isn't it?
Yeah. And with Bloodstock as well, it's like they've got so much quality over the 3 days. So we don't know, maybe Bloodstock. We're going to try and squeeze it in if we can.
Yeah.
It's unlikely, but we will. We'll try.
Yeah, watch this space on that one. And then I think the final festival of the year will be Derby Alt Fest in October.
Again,
that we know of.
Not the one that we're really excited to be at.
Yeah, it's 5 days in total. Some of it is just evenings to start with, and then you've got some full days over the weekend, but it's a new one to us. Some awesome bands there, some we've seen before, some we've not seen before. Yeah, that'll be really exciting.
Yeah, I think we've got, over the next kind of like 12 months from where we are, we've got 12 months of festivals that are going to be so good. And alongside that, all of the gigs that we're going to be going to as well.
But I was just going to say, we've not actually got any gigs booked at the moment, apart from festivals thus far, but they're getting announced all the time. The only one I've got is Hollywood Vampires in July.
Yeah, which I wish I was kind of going to, but it's on a school night.
It is on a school night, yeah.
And it's a school night I can't make, unfortunately.
But I'm sure other gigs will pop up and we'll be reviewing and vlogging those as we go, as we do.
So just before we finish, one of the other things we'd like to say is that there are so many great podcasts out right now. And some in particular that we really want to give a big shout out to are Nevermind Polly with Matt Bacon.
Yeah, he came on the podcast. He was one of our guests towards the end of last year, I think.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Had a chat about his own podcast. Obviously faced a quick fire round. We had some good chat about music that he loves, that we love. It was great. And
introduced us to some new bands that we'd never heard of.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of the great things about doing this is that you find out about so many new bands. And one of the podcasts I think we'd really love to both give a big shout out to is Dear Download. Adam and Simon, because I was on their podcast before we started this podcast.
Yeah.
And they're one of the big inspirations for kind of doing this.
Yeah. And we went on their podcast. Was it after the first download announcement?
It was after the first download. No, it was before.
It was just before, actually, yeah.
It was just before.
We had a chat about who we were hoping to see, who we expected to see, etc. So, yeah, go check them out.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get both of those guys on. Unfortunately, our audio quality was absolutely dog shit, for which we apologised, but it was really bad. But we've got all that sorted now, so hopefully we can get those guys on as well.
Yeah.
And maybe do a download podcast.
Yeah, that'd be good. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover over what we've done over the last year. Who knew that we'd last a year?
Yeah, a lot of podcasts don't last this long, and like we put a bit of a commitment into this, and hopefully you guys are enjoying what you're listening to.
Yeah, and the fact that we know at least a couple of people listen to us makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, it makes all the difference. It's not just me and you rambling in a room. Well, we probably are actually, yeah.
Especially tonight. However, the fact that, some people are listening to this now, and that's great. So thank you.
And that was the Beercast.
It was, yeah. Happy birthday to us.
Us.
So I guess I should just do the usual ending then. So thank you for listening, as always. Hope you've enjoyed it. Looking back over the last year, if you've been listening from the start, then thank you very much. As we've already said, if you're new, go back and listen to some old episodes and pick out particularly the interviews because they're great. And yeah, if you're not already following us on Twitter and Instagram, we're at Ready to Mosh Cast, and Facebook, TikTok and YouTube at Ready to Mosh. So go give us a follow, like, share, a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform. And we will be back with episode number 60 next week.
Make a slop move.